Hi, I'm Susan Waters from Exceeding Joy. Our scripture this week is Mark 8:22-25, which says, "Then he came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. So he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he asked him if he saw anything. And he looked up and said, 'I see men like trees walking.' Then he put his hands on his eyes again and made him look up, and he was restored and saw everyone clearly." Today we're going to be looking at the segment Push Past. The first translation was, he asked him if he saw anything, and he looked up and said, I see men like trees walking. Then he put his hands on his eyes and made him look up, and he was restored and saw everyone clearly. The last translation was, he asked him do you see anything? And he looked up and said, "I see people, but they look like trees walking around." Then again, Jesus laid his hands on his eyes, and the men stared intently, and his sight was completely restored, and he began to see everything clearly. Don't you think Jesus could have healed him the first time rather than on time two? I do. But I think Jesus is trying to make a point that we need to persevere. We need to trust him that he will bring about his result. He loves us, and he's got promises. His word is filled with promises that he wants us to stand on. We live in a spiritual war zone, and we have to fight the good fight of faith. Mark 9 verse 23, it says, Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." If you were the enemy, what would you do to stop someone from believing and from receiving from God? Think about that. Now, what kind of lies would you get them to disconnect from God? There's all kinds of lies and reasons and ideas and excuses. Think about what they would be. And I think when you go through that process, you'll realize that the enemy has done that with you, with each one of us, to get us to stop believing from God. So I have 3 challenges for you today. The first one, declare and be determined to receive God's promises no matter what. The second challenge, talk to God about each promise you are believing him for. And the last one, any promise that you've let go of because of disappointment or fear or unbelief, pick it up again and start believing. It's never too late. We often will let things go, but we can pick them back up. So bless you as you believe God, and we'll see you tomorrow.